Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another album review, and this time it's rock and roll, but not necessarily by the people you might expect. Well, it wasn't for me. You have subscribed, haven't you? You know, that little button you can press now so you don't miss out on any of my album reviews or unboxing videos. You, the guy that's not been here before. It's just that button. Got it? Great. Here we go. Right. The Loveless, and this is Meet the Loveless. And I love this. I absolutely do. It's garage, psych, rock and roll, late 60s, a bit of Iggy, lots of Alice Cooper, really. Blondie, Sex Pistols. So who's in it? Who's in it indeed? Now the vocalist is Marc Almond by Soft Cell. Now that might take some of you by surprise, but his voice just lends itself to this music so well. Neal X is on guitar, Sigue Sputnik, lots of massive chords, great, and Iggy Pop, stupendous touring rhythm section, Max Hector and Ben Ellis, plus keyboard maestro James Beaumont as well. I heard this before I got it, I'll admit, and I was absolutely amazed. And what drew me in is one of the tracks on side 2. But the opening song is called Wild in the Streets. This is only, in vinyl, there are 500 copies. I think there's only 500 copies which are in this coloured, kind of plum coloured vinyl, of which mine is number 448. And it's Marc Almond, as I said, James Beaumont, Ben Ellis, Max Hector and Neal X is in the band. Wild in the Streets is the opening track, and it absolutely is fantastic. I played this to some of my mates, and I said, you couldn't guess who's in this band or who's singing, and they absolutely loved it. It's a great rock song. There's absolutely tons of youthful exuberance, lots of stereo panned solos, you know, like they used to do in the old days, going from one side to the other. Stereo. Everything now seems so mono, doesn't it? It's absolutely fantastic, and lots of phasing at the end of that. The next song is called Put It In My Hands, and this is very much like Blondie. See, my wife said it sounds very much like a Blondie track, but it's also very bluesy rock and roll. It's got very 60s kind of feel to it, the hand claps over the chorus, etc., and a great kind of Chuck Berry type rock and roll guitar solo. So it's that kind of guitar playing. And the next one is called Pills, which is by Bo Diddley. And this features Glenn Matlock on vocals. So there is a real Pistols-esque. Do you know when the Sex Pistols were kind of not the Sex Pistols anymore, when they were having hits with the guy from The Great Train Robbery and Sid Vicious was bailing out, that period of the Sex Pistols, it has that feel to it, most definitely. The next one is Take a Heart, which is also a very kind of blondish song. However, it's got a real rock and roll boogie feel to it, a real shuffle. In another world, I'm sure if Mark's watching this, when I say the word status quo, he'll probably just, his eyes will go towards the ceiling, but it's got that kind of rock bluesy shuffle feel to it. It really is good. And there's a lovely kind of keyboard flourishes going on there as well, which really adds to the atmosphere. I'm Not Like Anyone Else is lots of teen angst and lots of 60s psychedelia influenced garage bands from the USA, Iggy, a bit of Alice Cooper as well, and that's one of my favourite songs from the album. I absolutely love this. Some superb guitar playing on there as well. Dark Side, this has got some kind of like, this is another one of my favourites. This is a chord sequence that has been used a lot, but it's a chord sequence that I never ever tire of. The chord sequence that kind of is Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan, Belfast Child by Simple Minds, you know, that kind of thing where you just know that you could just keep it going for a long time. It leaves lots of space for emotive vocal flourishes and a big space for guitar solos. this song has that. It's the Wave Your Flag ballad. And there are great guitar solos, ethereal backing vocals as well. And it ticks all the boxes. And it's an absolutely superb song. On side 2, on my notes, the next one is Nothing at All. And this is a clap-along pop, great fun song. I can imagine this being absolutely wonderful song played live. It's got a wah-wah guitar solo. It's fab stuff. Hot, hard and heavy. Sounds like something Kiss would have paid a ton of money for. This is a real new wave bass keyboard driven song, fun backing vocals and a very Stones type guitar solo in there as well. Then track 3 on side 2 is Under My Wheels by Alice Cooper. Now this works so well, and this really shows where their roots are. And Marc Almond's vocals on this, he might not have the kind of rasp that Alice has, but it's just perfect. It has the brass section on there. It's just I give 10 out of 10. Absolutely 10 out of 10. It's spot on. It's just fantastic. I have to say that Marc's vocals, you can hear every word of all the songs on this album. It's so well produced. It's raucous. It's garagey rock and roll, as I said, but you can hear all the words. Intonation is just absolutely superb. Really, really is. You're Gonna Miss Me by Ericsson is, again, the riff is so much like I Can't Explain by The Who, but it's okay, very 60s. You can imagine go-go dancers like from that period. It really has that feel, great kind of Hammond type keyboard sound as well, which I love. And then we've got Nighttime, which is kind of like, do you remember 9 Below Zero? That kind of bluesy Dr. Feelgood type feel. That's what it's like. Streets of Fire. The Streets of Fire, the film with Jim Steinman. No, it's not like Jim Steinman, but do you remember some of the bands in the film? That kind of the bluesy, the kind of like soul bands in there. It's like that, just like it. Shape of Things to Come has a riff that reminds me of Batman, the TV series. Very pop, very new wave, great vocal, a lot of fun. And again, there's a Blondie type influence as well. And in the last track, I'll Be Gone, also has a kind of Batman feel to it as well. It's brass driven, R&B, soul, 60s, great expressive vocals, just absolute rock and roll album. I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed this. This is a fun album. It really, really is, and it's just rock and roll. It also on the inside cover, this kind of like we cut out with a pair of scissors and put all the pictures together, which Marc Almond's done. Just adds to it really. And the only other quote that I like the sound of, which is from Louder Than War, and they said it was the Loveless described as Britain's best garage rock and roll band. Sounds great. It sounds really, really good. So that is the Loveless. Meet the Loveless. It's out now on CD and vinyl, and I love it. So thank you for watching, thank you for being here. Please subscribe, become a patron or YouTube member. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor. So get spinning those discs, and I shall see you all very, very soon.